Well, I'm not surprised. I'm horrified that there is that many children that are buried, and that the church, the government of Canada knew about it all these years and have hidden it, even though the survivors have testified that they have known people went missing in their communities at the residential school. We were not believed, but now that they have found these burial grounds, all of a sudden everybody is believing what we are saying now, and it saddens me to know that it took the discovery of these bodies for people to start believing.
We are at the Cowessess First Nation community gravesite. Years ago, this was once the Marieval Residential School gravesite. All around me are unmarked graves. We know that our loved ones here, our ancestors are here. In our truth as finding as a First Nation and the surrounding communities that have come to this residential school, this is where our truth lies.
The Indian Residential School settlement was signed in 2006, and those of us that applied for compensation had to go to a hearing. And in that agreement, the government and the church agreed to release all documents related to the residential school history, in exchange for immunity for the crimes that they had committed during that period. But when we went to our hearings, our documents were not present. So it was our word against, the government. And I wasn't believed that I was sexually abused at the residential school. Basically, I was, told that I lied, and I had no proof. I had no hospital records present. no school records. What do you do when someone says, I don't believe you? When you know this is something that you have dealt with, in my case, at the age of 10, all the way through my life, and still today. There's not much you can do.
There's a call for nationwide solidarity tonight from National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations, Perry Bellegarde, who tweeted, "The news that hundreds of unmarked graves have been found in Cowessess First Nation is absolutely tragic, but not surprising. I urge all Canadians to stand with First Nations in this extremely difficult and emotional time."
I'm 80 years old, and I went to boarding school down there. I was taken by my parents to go. At that time, if the parents didn't want to allow their children to go to boarding school, one of them had to go to jail. So in order that we keep the family together, we went to boarding school. They brought us there, we stayed there. And we learned, they pounded it into us, and really they were very mean. When I say pounding, I mean pounding. Those nuns were very mean to us. For, I don't know, I don't think they liked it being there either. But we had to learn how to be Roman Catholic. We couldn't say our own little blessings the way we said it at home. We had our own way of honoring ourselves and Mother Earth in our own homes when we were little, but we had to leave all that after. When we were taught at home that we had to look after ourselves physically, mental, emotionally, and spiritual. So that got all stripped away when we went to boarding school. They told us what to say. They told us about a new being that was supposed to be our ultimate savior. But the ones we had in our school, they were not nice either. They were very condemning about our people. They told us our our people, our parents and grandparents had no, they didn't have a way to be spiritual because we were all heathens.
The government and the church still today has not released these documents that would prove and show where these children are buried across Canada. The parents weren't even notified that their children went missing. That alone is so disgraceful and horrifying. Can you imagine this happening today, where you send your child off to school and at the end of the day, 3 o'clock comes and your child doesn't show up at home and you're not given an explanation? How does the parent sleep at night, not knowing where their child is? They deserve an explanation on what happened to their children. It's just unbelievable, the treatment that us Indigenous people have endured with the government and the church all these years. And unfortunately, it still continues today. We still don't have the documents. St. Anne's Residential School survivors have been fighting the government for the last 10 years to ask for these documents to be released. Minister Carolyn Bennett says, in the media, yes, we are going to sit down and negotiate with St. Anne survivors, and, she sounds good, and, but there's no action. Those are all words. I sent her a letter 2 weeks ago saying St. Anne's is ready to sit down and talk, negotiate. Let's stop fighting in court. You were supposed to release these documents. We're not in the wrong. They are. But I haven't heard from her yet.
I was the third one in my family that went to that school. My grandmother went, and my mother and me. So they were still teaching that all the time. So they were putting us down as a people. So we learned how to not like who we were. And that has gone on and it's still going on. Because we couldn't teach our people, our own families, how to look after themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritual. They made us, when we became assimilated, they made us think different and feel different. So it's a lot of the pain that we see in our people right now comes from there. Mm-hmm. And I went to another school, Little Brett, also. And that was the same thing. You know, they made us believe we didn't have souls. Both places. And that was the ultimate desire of all of us to, how can we be better, do better? And sometimes it's really hard to know, and how our parents our parents and grandparents had a hard life because they were had to be assimilated. So now we know how to do that. We don't have to go back. We just have to learn how to look after ourselves in a good way. So I thank you, Chief, for allowing me to come here and talk a little bit about it. I'm an elder under reserve. I have a sweat lodge. I stopped it now because I want somebody else to do it. But if you need an elder, you know, people want to come, they can come. I have a lodge. My husband had built me a little lodge, so that's where I see people. I don't tell them anything. I don't tell anyone who's there, but I'm busy. Thank you. Hmm.
And yet there is still so many of the great majority of Canada that don't understand our grief, that deny us our right to grieve. That is what really hurts. We are going to need very strong leaders to step up and help make things right. And unfortunately, from all my experience, I have not found leaders from the government of Canada that are willing to step up to the table with Native leaders to make things right.
Why do you feel that there is a reluctance to acknowledge this?
Well, I think that, they're afraid what we're going to find on the grounds. They're afraid what we're going to find in the documents. That's the only conclusion I can come up with. Maybe there's more in the documents that, we don't know about. I have no idea. But we all need to move on in our life. We've been carrying this burden. I have been carrying this burden since I was 10. I'm 63 now. That's, 53 years. And I just want to, move on with my life. And I feel like I'm entitled to that. Just release the documents. Let's put them on the table, negotiate, and we can all move on.